we're gonna talk about this. This is huge XQC drama from Pyrocynical. I'm a little skeptical because a lot of times when Pyro says that things are huge, he means that it's a nothing burger. But you know what? It's something to react to while we play video games. And isn't that the meaning of life? Let's watch.
When you ask yourself, who is the biggest celebrity in the world? Maybe you might think of PewDiePie, the Backpack Kid, or Oprah Winfrey. But for me personally...
No. Maybe Oprah, I guess. Probably a good guess. The biggest, John Goodman. He's very large. Got him.
It's XQC, the French-Canadian Twitch streamer that speaks so quickly, he somehow mispronounces absolutely everything.
Shh. Okay. Jam, a man of fortune, and Jay must seek my fortune. Henry Avery's 1994.
Now, I really wish I could be sat down with you and we just make some jokes about XQC at his expense. You know, lol, he talks really quickly. Lamau, he said a word wrong. But unfortunately, this video is serious business. XQC has been in trouble for quite a while now, but the details, they've always been very sketchy. This is a situation that no one's really been talking about until recently because there have been some huge leaks. But the first thing I need to do is build a timeline of events. You've just joined us at Avengers Endgame, when in reality, the only thing you've watched that's Marvel related is Ant-Man 2, and then you probably slept halfway through it. I really don't blame you. It's a very mid-film. Now, XQC had a girlfriend called Adept. Her Twitch name is Adept the Best. Now,
is this the personal... Why is this personal drama between XQC and his girlfriend? Is that what we're about to investigate? Oh man, that's exciting. A lot of boundary, a lot of boundary crossing, a lot of like not understanding boundaries online.
They were dating, but they broke up in 2022. Now, when XQC broke up, he had no prenup in the relationship. A prenup or prenuptial agreement is basically when you sign something before you get married to say, you know, you're not taking 50%, because without the prenup, if you get divorced, then, you know, both partners are entitled to 50% no matter, you know, who actually made the wealth or not. Basically, without a prenup, if a relationship ends very messily, which a lot of them do, it can just lead to a huge pissing match of who owns what. And as we all know, XQC has a comedic amount of money, so when they broke up, there was no prenup, so Adapter managed to slurp a lot of his assets that, you know, weren't hers, that he bought originally, but because it was both under their name, it's now her property. Like, for example, the McLaren car that XQC bought. Now, legally, Adepta hasn't done...
Sure, he'll be all right. He's a millionaire, so...
anything wrong, but again, it still leaves a bit of a sour taste in your mouth. You know, you make all this money, self-made, you raise millions, and then someone that's come into your life, it ends quite poorly, and then they start slurping up all your assets. I mean, there are so many examples of this. Like, for example, Jeff Bezos and his wife. I'm not saying feel sorry for Jeff Bezos, by the way, quite the opposite, but his wife...
Okay, so listen, like, first of all, Pyro, you are like a grown child. Okay, I'm not trying to be rude. When it comes to XQC, probably wasn't married for too long. Totally understand. When it comes to Jeff Bezos, his wife of like 20 or 30 years, she helped build him as a person. Okay, it's very different, right? Like, if you're somebody that has already accumulated wealth, you should get a prenup if you marry somebody, because you've earned that yourself. When you're in a relationship with somebody who supports you, which Jeff Bezos' wife did, she deserves a significant portion of that money. They were together. I don't even know how long they were married, but they were married for a long time. They were married since before he was like anybody. Okay, so this is one of the problems with like people. They were married for 25 years. This is one of the problems. It's like you guys just are like anti I don't know, whoever. I guess I don't know if it's anti-woman or anti-what, but like, dude, there's one thing. If you don't know, if you marry somebody who's rich, they should keep most of their wealth. But if you're with somebody for 25 years, you're giving up your life to some extent, and you're building each other. Like, just because my wife doesn't do my content with me doesn't mean that she doesn't help build me. So if I get rich being in a relationship with my wife and we divorce, which will never happen, she deserves a significant portion of that. She was there from the start. So understand that there's nuance to these things, and you can't just say like, oh, money splitting bad, because it's not. Because if you're giving up 25 years of your life, you're giving up potentially, especially if it's a scenario where like it's a stay-at-home mom or dad and like the other person works, you're sacrificing your future potential to be independent so that you can support your partner and their children, right? Like, if my wife quit her job, let's say I made like $500,000 this year, and my wife quits her job and she stays home and like helps take care of the kids, but she does more because that's like more of her job now, right? So I'd help a little bit here and there, but that's like mostly her job, is to take care of the house and the kids, right? And we do this for 20 years, and then like we did a divorce. She deserves like half my shit because she quit her job to take care of the kids and support me in a different way, and we mutually decided this. If we were together for 20 years, now she's like 48. It's not like she can just go back to work, and she doesn't have experience. She hasn't worked for 20 years. You can't just pick up from where you left off. You're significantly different. Your fucking brain doesn't function the same way. Okay? So like fundamentally, like understand a little bit of nuance here. Jesus Christ.
Divorced him, getting around 38 billion, not million, billion, making her, I think, currently the third richest woman in the entire planet, just because of the amount of money she got from the divorce settlement. I did a little bit of digging on that, by the way, and the woman that divorced Jeff, her name is Mackenzie Scott, and she actually married a science teacher a year later, Breaking Bad reference, and then another year later, they divorced as well. I'm assuming that guy that Mackenzie got with, the science teacher, Walter White, there was a prenup there. I'm very sure he did not slurp any of that money. Now, XQC hasn't really been speaking about this much on stream, which is totally fair. I mean, it's none of our business. This is a personal issue that we're, not really meant to pry into. But the thing is, like, the entire...
So why are you?
reason I'm making this video is because the court documents, which are publicly accessible upon request, have been posted online.
Petitioner requests the court that the trial on merits to grant the following permanent injunctions, okay? Respondent, which is XQC, will be prohibited and joined as defense.
Is this guy a lawyer? Because that would make sense that he's talking about it. But, like, why talk about this?
Fancy word from prohibited. To taking any steps to talk, stalk, harass, threaten, or otherwise intimidate petitioner, including to, but not limited to, discussing the litigation on any social network profile, including but not limited to his Twitch stream or YouTube account. So basically, let's get divorced, and I don't want you.
Oh, he's an investigator. I don't know what that means. If that's like, I don't know if he's like an investigator, like in some kind of legal capacity, or if he's like he's like a First Amendment auditor who harasses police officers and calls himself a journalist. I don't really know which one it is, but okay.
You talking about the divorce on your Twitch? I don't want you talking about it on your YouTube.
Now, what this is basically a lawsuit that Adept is filing against XQC, and some of the requests in it are absolutely ridiculous. So one of the stipulations is for XQC to not talk about this at all on stream, on social media. He cannot, allude to it. He cannot talk about.
That's not ridiculous at all. That's normal. As long as both of them can't talk about it, it's perfectly reasonable to have like some kind of an NDA. Like relationship breakups can be very toxic, especially later on. They might not be toxic at first, but like, like sometimes they can just blow up afterwards for no reason. And sometimes it's a good thing to be like, yeah, let's just have a non-disclosure. We can't talk about each other. That's perfectly normal and reasonable, but okay, sure.
In threat of Adept coming under like physical or mental attack. Now, you've got some diehard XQC fanboys that have been speculating for a while that Adept has just been trying to, trap XQC to get his money. Personally, I can't comment on that. I don't watch the juicer enough, but there have been some clips circulating and they are very weird. Like, for example, she was asking on one stream, would you rather get married or have a child?
If you had to pick one, which would you pick between having to be married or having to have a baby right now? Right now.
Married, but I didn't get a prenup.
Okay, you're dumb. Anyways.
What's so suspicious about this silly what if? It's like, oh, this one girl, she's a big red flag. She asked, would you still love me if I was a worm? You know what I mean? Like, that's just normal. Like, that's just, okay, it's not a red flag.
And then apparently, just weeks before she filed this lawsuit, she was being very friendly with him, kissing him on stream, and then implying that, he was the one that actually was, like, begging to have her back.
Why did you overlay weird music over it?
He's been trying to win me back for a while already. Okay?
Now, I do want to say this is only one angle. We definitely do not know all the details. She could be 100% telling the truth, but
why are we witnessing so many people speculating on someone else's relationship today? Like, what is up with this? This is bizarre.
Again, like this lawsuit being leaked, which hasn't been edited, hasn't been doctored, it looks massively unfair on X's side. Reading this lawsuit is the equivalent of an Elden Ring 3v1 gank. It is just...
Well, thank God XQC has enough money to afford a lawyer. Like, or we would all be fucked, am I right?
So unfair in his favor. Like, for example, how she filed a restraining order against him, but then, turns up to his house in the early hours of the morning, screaming that he broke his agreement. But the thing is, if X actually got into a verbal debate with her on stream, he'd be breaking the suit because he's talking about the entire lawsuit on stream, something which has been stipulated he cannot talk about.
You're violating. Oh my God, shut up! My God! Oh.
Okay.
But apparently the only reason she came over to the house and she was screaming that he broke the court order is because she couldn't get access to a Tesla that in the stipulation she's allowed to drive, even though she knew he was streaming.
Related to the respondent's actions and interfering with the petitioner's use and access of the 29 Tesla motor vehicle violation of the court orders to be broadcasted during the live stream and therefore allowed discussion of the pending litigation on his social network profile.
Now, this lawsuit, it gets even worse. There are some crazy details here. Like one of them, for example, apparently X can't play any games where there's any aspect of chance, like, for example, gambling. And also, he can't buy expensive clothes.
So that is not reasonably necessarily to respond.
Interesting. Why would that be part of the agreement that he can't gamble? Oh, is it before he gets divorced? Is that whole... I gotta try to read this. Hold on. Okay, utilizing funds, I know you guys can't see it, but utilizing funds in his possession to wager, gamble, or play any games of chance, utilizing funds in his possession to acquire clothing, jewelry, or wearing apparel that is not reasonably necessary to support respondent's minimum reasonable needs. I'm assuming, I could be wrong, I'm assuming that this is pending until the trial or whatever is over, because she doesn't want him just gambling all of his money away so that she loses some of it, and she doesn't want him to like put it into like assets like jewelry or clothing, again, because this thing muddies the waters when it comes to create like, you know, whatever their financial split agreement's going to be. It's probably why that exists. Okay.
Or it's the respondent's minimum reasonable needs. So, hey, no expensive things.
But again, the lawsuit says chance, not explicit gambling. So, like, what does that mean? Can I not play Elden Ring because there's a chance I knock down a bus and get a critical hit on him? Because
dude, you cannot stop. God, bro. I liked him better when he was fucking DMing minors, talking about fucking farting on them as a furry, because this is insane. You know what they're talking about. Like, it's just an attempt to be funny. I don't get it.
There's a chance I can't play it. Also, keep in mind, games that, you know, made XQC big, for example, Overwatch, they had loot boxes in them. That's random chance. Does that mean he can't play CSGO anymore because the cases have random chance? Can I...
No, it would mean that he couldn't buy the cases, potentially.
Okay, I'm definitely reaching here, but imagine if the suit was that bad that he couldn't play basically any first-person game because the recoil pattern on a gun is random. Now,
okay.
the thing is, you're probably asking at this point, this lawsuit reads like a couple that were actually married, didn't have a prenup, and then the divorce got messy. But the thing is, they were never actually married, right? We've never really heard of XQC being married. Now, from what I've been reading...
I imagine they were married. Okay.
Allegedly, Adept is basically trying to argue that they were under common law marriage, which is, but this is a really weird term. Basically, common law marriage is marriage with every aspect except the actual papers being signed. You know, they live together, they spend a lot of time with each other, but there's still no papers signed, but it's still technically arguably a marriage. And if she can argue that it's actual marriage, this could be everything, even alimony payments. You know, alimony payments, by the way, the monthly or yearly payment you make to your ex-spouse, that is what ruined Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser had to pay $900,000 to his ex-wife, and then around $30,000 a year in child support. You know that meme of Brendan?
So, like, that's not what ruined Brendan Fraser. What ruined Brendan Fraser was his inability to get a job because he was, like, sexually assaulted by somebody, like, a higher up, and he couldn't find work. I mean, like, right? So what happened is that Brendan Fraser had this incident where he got touched inappropriately by, like, one of those people, like an executive, right? And so after he was touched inappropriately, like, he wanted an apology. So I think he had, like, his manager or something ask for an apology, and the guy said no, and they basically, like, blacklisted him. There's no proof technically, but... you know how this kind of shit works. It's really fucked up. That's what actually happened, right? And what happened though is that, like, when him and his wife divorced and his kids have a problem, and maybe she got too much money, but it's kind of speculative. This was right when that happened, when he was still getting really heavy, solid, steady, good work, but he couldn't find it anymore, so he had to just start taking bullshit jobs. Okay, like we have to stop throwing in the alimony bad thing across the board on this thing, because it's not fundamentally bad. You could argue the Brendan Fraser situation, but frankly, from what he said, he didn't seem to have too much of a problem with it. He wants to support his kids and whatnot. That's, like, you know, it's really not for us to speculate. But again, he's talking about Jeff Bezos and his ex-wife, who were together for 25 years. She helped build him as a person, and you're like, oh, she siphoned money from him. No, she got what she deserved. That's how it works. Like, how old is this kid? People online are so immature. Is this guy like 15? Like, what's going on here? He's 25. Wow. You need to grow up, man. Holy fuck.
Brendan Fraser, where he looks like he's crying. That's why. The entire reason he fell off of Hollywood, he's only recently come back, is because of the alimony. Also, this court...
I love how you forgot the sexual assault part. Dude, you're actually insane.
That's why. The entire reason he fell off of Hollywood, he's only recently come back, is because of the alimony. Also, this court... That's why. The entire reason he fell off of Hollywood, he's only recently come back, is because of the alimony. Also...
What do you mean by that? The reason he fell off is because he was I mean, I don't know if he was sexually assaulted by that guy, and then, like, he was stressed about it. It distracted him and fucked him up. Well, you're not even right. You're saying words.
This court document has some of the most amazing amount of reaching I've ever seen in my life. For example, one part of the court document claims that XQC had a porn star over to his house and was hugging and kissing her on stream. Now, obviously, this is put in the document to make XQC look incredibly unfaithful and to have the court, you know, side in Adept's favor. The thing is, this, like, porn star that the court document's referencing, that's Nixie, a partnered Twitch streamer. They do a little kissing, but you need to keep in mind, this is post-breakup. But even then, Nixie DM'd Adept to apologize and still gets dragged into the lawsuit anyway. I just like how the girl who does Instagram-type posts on her OnlyFans is now marked as a porn star. Also, I do really want to point point out the irony of this tweet that was posted on the 3rd of November, which was around the same time by Adept. Listen, last couple weeks, months, whatever, may have been toxic, but I can never publicly diss another girl just living her best life. City girls up, 100,000, fingernail paint emoji. Thriving, in fact. You know, acting like it's totally fine, but then just throwing her into the lawsuit anyway. There was also an event called Shit Camp that Cutie Cinderella organized, another Twitch streamer, and XQC was meant to go to that, but he flaked. He basically kind of alluded that it's because of the breakup that he was having with Adept, but then he went to tell Adept personally, I just didn't want to go. And then she's thrown that in the lawsuit. She's snitched on him. There's no reason to even bring this up.
So he insisted to the public that the reason he didn't go to this event was because of our breakup, while privately admitting to me it was because he simply did not want to go. Look, you tell a woman your
Hey, we knew about this for a while. Who cares?
secrets, they coming out in the divorce, okay?
And
he simply did not want to go. Look, you tell a woman your secrets.
Yeah, bro, if you tell anybody your secrets, it can come out. Like, women aren't special, especially like fucking shitty, okay? Relax.
They coming out in the divorce.
Divorces are messy.
And after all of this, everything that's gone on, X is still not allowed to talk about it because he's breaking the court order. Now, obviously, he's done some like snides, you know, he's done some little quips that could be inferred. Nothing direct, obviously, because he literally can't. But honestly, he's dealing with it so well for someone who would just be having this living rent-free in the front of his brain, because it basically is the world's biggest drama in his head right now.
You know what this game really teaches you, right? Never spend your diamonds on a hoe. That's kinda how it goes.
Oh my god.
Now, of course, the Twitch community being the Twitch community, they know XQC is down. Do they help him up? No, they just kick on him and they spit on him. For example, this tweet that I found, someone paid Hank Schrader from Breaking Bad money on Cameo, which is a service where you can pay people money to, you know, celebrities, you pay them money to say quips and stuff. They paid Hank money to act like Adept's lawyer.
Hello, XQC. This is Adept's lawyer. Sending this message to you to remind you that the McLaren isn't yours, bucko.
Wow, incredible.
Also, your last 3 relationships with women didn't work out. Maybe try some of those femboys you like so much instead. Get the juice.
Based.
It's great. It's great. No matter how down bad you are in life, there will be always someone to drag you down further. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
I want Papa God to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.